launch the season 2, and we got the opportunity to start it today. After the just 1 minute. This interruption. After the successful launch of the season 1, now in the season 2, we are expecting and we will be adding new features and make it more interesting and exciting. One of the things that we are looking to add in the season 2 is that apart from authors who write in English, we also would like to have interaction with authors who write in other Indian regional languages, because I think there is a rich heritage in other languages also, and we need to bring that to our viewers and our readers. So that is one endeavor that we would be making. And the second endeavor that we want to make it is that apart from the authors from India, we would also like to interact with authors who are outside of India, from other regions and other countries, because that is a cultural exchange that needs to be undertaken, and that is something which we need to encourage. And during this season 2, we will be making that effort. That is our endeavor. My request to all the readers and all the viewers of this program would be that if they would like to have any author from India or outside of India to be featured in this show, maybe they can share those details with Shri Sanjay Chandra ji, and we would make all the efforts to make sure that in season 2 we bring them for interaction with all our viewers over here. Last week, when we were discussing as to who should be our opening batsman, and incidentally, tomorrow is Sachin Tendulkar's 50th birthday.
Yes.
So, on who should be our opening batsman? One name which topped our list, and we thought that there is no other name which is better suited than the name that came to our list, is the name of someone who is inspiration and a driving force behind Pioneers Book Lovers Club, as also the author show, and that is none other than Shri Sanjay Chandra. Welcome, Sanjay. Welcome to be the opening batsman of this show, season 2. And I am very sure that just as season 1, which featured almost 20-25 authors, season 2 also will be as interesting, as exciting, and it will bring varied and different authors who write in on different topics to interact with the readers and viewers and make it as much more interesting and more exciting. Sanjay, I think, needs no introduction to the readers and viewers of this forum. I think almost all of them know him very well. But for the sake of completing a formality, I would give a very brief introduction of Sanjay. He is a professional electrical engineer by qualification, spent almost all his life in working for railways, either railways department itself or a company which was owned by Government of India, railway department. But then somewhere during that period, I think he got restless and he wanted to explore the world outside of railways also. And towards that end, to get out of the comfort zone that he was in, he decided to explore avenues in private sector, and he made a switch from a government and government company to a private sector organization, which I thought many would hesitate to do, but Sanjay believes in taking calculated risks, and he took that calculated risk and made a success of it. So he worked in the private sector, established a new business for that company. And then again, I think he got restless and he wanted to explore something new. Maybe his original dream of starting his own business. And he established his own consultancy firm to provide consultancy to the budding entrepreneurs in the construction or contracting field, as also provide them strategic vision. And that is something which he has been doing for last 5 years or so. And along with that, he has also helped establish a startup in educational area, which is a very noble cause. And I think that is something which we must applaud Sanjay for doing it. And that also is now on a firm footing and doing well. So welcome, Sanjay. Welcome
Thank you.
to
Thank you, Vardhan.
Author
Thank you.
Shows Season 2.
I'm happy to be here.
Maybe.
Yeah. I hope I do not get out first ball on a duck.
That is something which is unlikely to happen given that you are a seasoned campaigner.
Okay, yeah, please shoot.
So, first question is that how does it feel to be sitting on the hot seat rather than shooting the questions?
Oh, my bottom is burning.
Is that so? I wouldn't expect that.
I am on the hot seat. But it feels nice. It feels good to field questions. I would not say field questions because we never, our format has never been about questions and answers. It's more about an interactive session. So,
yes.
Yeah, so we are continuing in the same spirit and I am happy to be here.
Great. Thank you. So the first question that comes to my mind, and I wanted to ask you this question long time back, but then somehow I did not ask you, is that what was the idea or thought process behind forming the Pioneers Book Lovers Club?
Okay, well, see, it's a community club, as I have said in the earlier shows also. It's a community club. And we started off as a physical club initially with about 10 or 12 odd members. And somewhere along the way, we thought that literature or reading books as a habit is not so prevalent now. It's dying down also, if I would say. You have a book club, and in that book club, normally you find there are only about 5-10 people who are active, who read. They read diverse topics, but not many people, and particularly the children, they are more addicted. Addicted is the wrong word, but they are now more tuned towards their iPhones and iPads and mobile games or video games. And we felt that reading is something which broadens your mind. It opens you up to a lot of possibilities. You get to know what is happening around the world while you are reading. And it also prepares anybody. It also prepares anybody for future. I would say, it gives you an empathy. It gives you a broad understanding. It gives you a lot of things. So we thought that we needed to promote reading as a habit. And with that in mind, we started this community club. Somewhere along the way, we decided that to expand the scope of the book club, rather than being just a community club, we wanted readers from across the globe, I would say, to interact with members of our community club. And with that, we expanded it to Facebook. We created a Facebook group by the name of Pioneer Book Lovers Club. And that has been the idea, that has been the aim. Now that Pioneer Book Lovers Club has almost about 300 odd members. And they are very active. Once again, not all members are so active all the times, but they are active, and the club contains authors also, the club contains readers also. There's a lively interaction that goes on between the communities. So that was the idea, and I feel satisfied that to some extent, whatever our objectives were, they are getting to meet, or they are meeting. It's always a work in progress, as I say, and it will continue. It will be a progressive work, but still. So that was the idea why we started the Pioneer Book Lovers Club.
And how satisfied you are with the progress that has been made in last, let's say, 2.5 years since the club was launched? And which are the, let's say, 2 or 3 objectives that you would like the club to achieve in, let's say, next 12 months or so?
See, if you would say the objectives, the single objective that I would say I would like to achieve is, we would like to achieve is that all members of the club, interact with each other around literature, around book reading or book writing. That is the main idea. That is the main objective that we would like to achieve. So far as satisfied is concerned, one should never be satisfied with what you have achieved. Yeah. One should always look ahead. And as I said, that, we would be happy if each and every member of the club is able to interact with each other. We also, we initially, when we had started as the community club, we had started physical meetup. Somehow, because of the COVID, it died down. We have again, since January, since February, we have again started the physical meetups in Gurgaon within our community. And the first meetup was attended by 10 odd people. Thereafter, there has been a slight decline. About 6-7 members are joining, but the members who join, they are very passionate about reading. I think today we don't have anyone from there, but they are very passionate about reading, and they are the avid readers. They read different genres, non-fiction, fiction, different genres, and they are from different professions. So we sit for about an hour, we discuss. Maybe someday in future, if we are able to merge the two, make it into more of a hybrid meetup where the members of the book club, the physical book meetup, and as well as this meetup, they come together, sit at a place and then interact with each other. That would be another objective that I would have. And as a book club, I would also like to expand the scope, rather than only a book or only literature, probably expand it to creative arts also, to include creative arts also. And there is another thing which I want to do. I want to bring in not just the literary people, but I also want to bring in achievers, people who have achieved something in their life, and they are from a background which is not so privileged as ours, and so they are finding it a bit difficult to actually difficulty meeting, working for their dreams, and help them in some way, if read out, and probably if crowdfunding is possible, then do the crowdfunding part also. So that is another objective, or that is another thing which we would like to do. Third thing which we have been working on, I can see Vasudha there. We want to launch a literature award, the Pioneer of Pioneer Book Lovers Club, a literature award, and merge it with a literature festival where it will be a literature award with a difference, in the sense that it will be judged by the books will be judged by a panel of readers, and then give 4 or 5 categories of awards. That's what we have been thinking of, but that requires money. And so I would also use this opportunity to reach out to people, for donation of money, so that we could, I'll over the next few weeks, I may be announcing a trust that we would be forming, and to reach out and have a literature award somewhere along the way, annual literature award kind of. So these are, there are lots of ideas.
This is very interesting. The award given by the readers themselves is something which will be very interesting, and that will be really well appreciated by budding authors.
I hope so, yeah, that's right, yeah.
So one question that I wanted to ask you is that electrical engineering and literature or writing, they seem to be two fields completely apart. Generally, people think that engineers are very boring. The electrical engineering, I don't think, has any exciting areas in that. How come these two things combine into you?
So, as I have probably mentioned sometime, in some other forum also, see, electrical engineering for your, for everybody's benefit is not boring. I mean, so, but then, having studied electrical engineering, I pretty soon found myself in an environment, when I joined Indian Railways, in an environment which probably had much less to do with engineering than to do with managing people. And staff which were uneducated, semi-skilled, semi-educated, educated also, and leading teams. Yes. Now, all of us are fond of telling stories. You tell me, or anybody that I ask you, were we not telling stories as children? We were always telling stories, and even, if we were scared of a scolding by our parents, the kind of tall stories that we would be narrating to our parents about what happened, so that they get diverted from the mischief that we had been up to. So we always told stories. then even the boardrooms, or even in our professional lives also, we were always telling stories. We have
Absolutely. The
we have
better
a
story, the better success.
better the story, better the success. So, but that was not all. Uh, See, since I had to deal with teams, I had to deal with managers, I had to become very conscious of everything about them, about their facial expressions, about their body languages, what they were going through. Listen to a lot of them, the problems that they were facing, maybe not just in their professional lives, even their personal lives also. So that made me observant, and the same observation probably continued in my life. And when you observe people around you, when you read newspapers or magazines, you come across stories, real life stories. And these are all stories which are waiting to be written. So that is what inspired me, that is what motivated me to write stories. And that's how
Okay.
I became a storyteller.
Okay. Your first book that was published was an autobiography. And I would have thought, and generally people would have thought, that the first book that you would write, or anybody would write, make an attempt, would be a fiction. So how come you decided to select the topic of an autobiography rather than a fiction? What was the thought process behind that?
See, I had just taken a sabbatical from my professional life. And around that time, I had joined social. That was in 2014-15. And so there were anecdotes in my life which were interesting to me, and I had just joined social media. So I posted a few of my anecdotes from my railway life, 2 or 3 of these anecdotes on my Facebook. And then I stopped. I got busy with other things. I stopped. And then my friends, they started asking me, they were looking forward to the next anecdote. So that set me thinking, and then I started penning down the anecdotes from my life. You said that was an autobiography. No, it was, I would not call it an autobiography. I would call it anecdotes from my life. From since my childhood, almost my birth till recently. And so I wrote the book. I wrote, I would say I kept on writing for every decade, whatever anecdotes came to my mind, I kept on writing those. And when I had completed that complete manuscript, I realized that it had become a social commentary of how India had evolved as a society, as a country, since almost a little after independence till recently. Many things had changed, many things had not changed. And that's what got me to think whether if I gave the manuscript to my wife, she read it, and I asked her, she initially thought that it was something about my professional life, about my private sector, about government sector, etc. But she found it interesting. She said it's an interesting book, and that encouraged me, that motivated me, and so I sent it to publishers. It got published, and so it's more of a social commentary of how India has changed. Yet there are many aspects of our society which have not changed.
So my next question actually was going to be that only, is that when you told your wife that you are writing, if not autobiography, something which you have observed and somewhere in which you are one of the main or principal character, what was her reaction?
No, she enjoyed it. She liked it. And see, when you are writing from your own anecdotes, there are times when it's difficult, like accepting your failures on print is difficult. Is
Yes.
extremely difficult.
Yes.
Bringing out your emotions is extremely difficult. So these were the challenges that I faced. But
Yes.
yeah, but because there were obviously one's life is not always all rosy. There are times which are difficult. So that was the
Absolutely.
difficult part. That was the difficult part. But on the whole, I felt very satisfied with whatever I had written in that first.
Okay. One question that comes to my mind is that after writing the story of the common man, did anyone get upset? And how did you handle that situation?
No, I think no, I don't think I was writing that with a view to upset anyone.
Yeah.
And probably people who felt from my professional circle, they felt that I had been pretty bold in some places. And so probably those people who came slightly on in a negative light, they did not read it, which is good for me. But no, I did not get any adverse comment on that.
Okay. So, when was your first name? When did your name first appear in the print? Was it in college days or thereafter? When was your name first appearing in the print?
Oh, I think my name also, if you are talking of appearing in print, when you say in print means on literature or some passages or something. Yeah. So because I used to take part in debates, etc., in the schools also, in colleges also. So I would not call that appearing in print. And the certificates that I got for different activities, no, those will, those also would not count there. So no, so the first time that it appeared was on my first book, The Life and Times of a Common Man, and it was extremely satisfying when I first held the book in my hands.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Imagine that. So, if you had this writing as a hobby or passion in you, why was it that it took you so long to come out with the first book?
I somehow never looked at myself as a writer, Vardhan. You are aware that whether in the government or in the private, all the writing that you are required to do is to probably write some very brief notes or approving something or not approving something, things like that. So I never thought of myself as a writer, actually, to be very frank with you.
Okay.
It was only sometime around 2019 when the first book came out, then I realized that there is a storyteller and there are stories all around us. So that's how I started writing. So I would not say, or maybe I was busy with my other dreams, pursuing other dreams at that time. Now I'm pursuing a different set of dreams altogether, writing.
Yeah. Your second book, The Gymnast, is a story of a street performer. Yes. Would you say that it is in that sense an extension of your first book, that is the story of a common man achieving his or aspiring for higher goals and achieving those goals? So in a way, it's a continuation?
It's a coincidence, but yes. In fact, both the books have almost a common theme, which is that one should always dream with eyes open, and one should pursue one's dreams with passion. And so it's, in a way, you could say that it is an extension, and but that's a coincidence. I would say that's a coincidence, but I love feel-good stories. I'm not very I do not like very heavy kind of stories. So that's why it's a very light read. It's a light, breezy read, which someone can even read in a single sitting as well. And so I wanted it to be a feel-good story from which others could take inspirations, and others could also aspire to pursue their dreams. So it's an extension in that way.
Yes. Okay. Somewhere when I was reading about you, you had mentioned that you also have written poems.
Not too many. I mean, it's because that's a different genre altogether, and I do not really find. See, the only poem that I can. Okay, Vardhan, we have 10 minutes. Okay, so yeah. So the lines that I love the most in a book, in a poem, are by those Robert Frost. I have miles to go before I sleep. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. So I have tried my hands. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 poems I have written, but not too many. I'm more of a prose writer. Because it gives you I personally feel, others may not, poets may not agree, but I personally feel that it gives you a broader canvas to work on, writing prose. And whereas a poem, probably you have to compress your emotions or in a far less number of pages. So I prefer writing books more.
Okay. As part of season 2, we also wanted to introduce one more segment to our conversation, and that was a rapid fire round.
So, okay. Please.
So,
Yeah.
so I hope you are ready for rapid fire.
No one is
Your
never ready for rapid fire, but yeah, I'll try.
Yes. So your first question, your time starts now. Is Chat GPT friend or foe for authors, and why?
Please repeat that.
Is Chat GPT,
Okay.
the AI platform, is it a
Yeah.
friend or foe for the authors?
Friend.
Friend, and why?
Okay. Why is more difficult? See, uh, it is another medium of your being able to express your story, and so in a way both would complement each other. If you would
Okay.
have seen, I recently shared a video, AI generated video, about the gymnast. It's a complete summary of the gymnast, and it's totally AI generated by there's one person, Arun Uday. He is based in Pune. He has been able to do that, and I loved it.
Your favorite author?
Lots of them, but Charles Dickens is certainly one of my favorite authors, and Jeffrey Archer.
Okay. Your favorite book?
Once again, from The Godfather has been a favorite. All the books of, particularly the three books of Charles Dickens, David Copperfield, Oliver Twist, and The Great Expectations. Then Jeffrey Archer's all the book, Cain and Abel, and all the books. I love them.
Secret of your smile?
Of my smile. Oh,
See?
I just love to smile.
Yes. You like to travel by train or plane?
Now plane. I have traveled a lot by train, but now I love traveling by plane.
Okay. You love to read on Kindle or book format?
Any day book format. Any day book format. I love the feel of the book in my hands. Yeah.
Perfect. So that was our rapid fire round. Coming back to maybe one or two questions, or one request that I want to make is that if you can read one passage from the Story of Common Man.
Story of Common Man. Okay. So I'm not. Let me see if I have that book. Yeah.
No, okay. Then we can. You can read it from Gymnast as well.
See, in the preface of my first book, I have written, "No child is born common, but its life can be common or extraordinary as it chooses," and so on. And that's how it. So that's what I wanted to say. And in the second book, The Gymnast, I mean, I would love the readers to read that and then to share reviews about that. The opening paragraph, and I don't know whether we have the time or not. I would like to read out. It was then standing at the traffic junction, waiting for his traffic signal to turn green, that he saw the three little children. He heard them, then saw them before he could register what they were doing. The children were poor and dressed in old clothes. The clothes were frayed but clean. Later in his life, his memory was always hazy when he tried to remember what had first attracted him to the three children. Was it the even younger girl who was walking with confidence on the rope above the road as cars whizzed past below her? Maybe it was all the three activities that had impinged on his memory simultaneously. This is the opening. Oh, these are the opening lines. And then the closing lines. Flashbulbs exploded for the street performer as she took a bow to the future. Now, this is the opening para and the closing line. The story in between these two passages is what The Gymnast is all about.
Yes. Maybe I will now invite viewers to ask their questions to Sanjay.
And how much time do we have? I think we have about 5 minutes.
I think we have 5 minutes.
4 minutes also. Yeah, sure.
4 minutes. Yeah. Any questions? Any viewers have?
Please unmute yourself. Whoever is asking, please unmute yourself and.
Very good evening. First of all, heartiest congratulations to Sanjay ji and Professor Shankar Sahai. Last 2 years, I've been in touch with Sanjay ji, and he has been a great inspiration. His books, both of them, they are really wonderful. So full credit to him. And it was great listening to you once again. And thanks a lot for bringing us this program almost twice a month. And it's really to have a look at the different authors and their works.
So thank you so much, Shankarji. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, and to meet you also. Shankarji also is an author, and I really loved reading his the first book, Chandausi Junction. That was all about. There were short stories from an era gone by, and what people felt, how people reacted in those times. I think it started from around early 50s till about say mid 80s, Shankarji.
Yes, early 40s.
Early 40s, yeah. So they're
So,
lovely.
1942 to 1982.
Right, that's right. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
So maybe we have time for one more question. And then Sanjay, if you could give a message on the World Book Day.
So we have, okay. So I think we could close the session, and Vardhan, I would say that each one of us who are more privileged than others. Vasudha has switched on her video. Vasudha, are you going to ask me a question? Please don't. Please,
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Good evening, everybody, for giving me this lovely opportunity. Uh, I mean, I would I would love to know what is the secret of so much effervescence. I mean, you have a very bubbly, young energy. I just want to know, how do you manage it? It would be such an inspiration for someone like me.
So I would say, having younger friends like you and Usha ji makes me do it. Usha ji,
Wow.
let me put her on the. Usha ji is yeah, and these two ladies are so bubbly, bubbling with the energy all the times. So that's what makes me keeps on going. So good to have you with us, Usha ji. Good to
Sir.
have you with us.
It's so nice to have you here, for me to be here today.
No,
After
thank you.
long
Thanks. Yeah, after a long time. Yes.
Very long time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So
Thank
what?
you so much,
Thank-
sir.
Thank you, Vasudha. Thank you, Usha ji. So, I would request each one of us who are here today and who are listening to us, or who would be seeing the recording at a later date or at a later time. I'll share the recording also. Please do inculcate that habit of reading. Please do motivate youngsters to read. That is very important. And that's all that I have from me, Vardhan.
Thank you, Sanjay. And it was a great pleasure speaking with you. And we hope to announce the next author who will be coming on our show very soon.
So thank you so much.
very much.
Thank you all. Thank you so very much for joining us this evening. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Vardhan ji, for being a wonderful anchor.